This is ION Hong Kong with Key.
And this is Harminder, and we'll be discussing the top news for the week involving Hong Kong and China. And welcome to the 43rd episode of ION Hong Kong Cocktail Hour.
Yes, I like the setting, the new setting of our studio.
Well, it's temporary as we were kicked out of our other studio because it's being used right now, but it's different. It's
I like it like I'm lying on the couch now.
No photo shoot poses, please.
Okay,
No, please no. Okay, so we haven't been here for this is about 2 weeks because of the Easter holidays, and the big news was the last 2 weeks was ATV not getting its license renewed.
Very unusual. Never happened in Hong Kong.
Tragic, in my opinion. As much as people are like, "Thank God it's dead," but they don't understand what's replacing it. Nothing.
But basically, it was like nothing
before,
right?
But
you
still,
don't watch it.
At least it was a staple. You're like used to it. At least two different things being there. There was the ATV, and then there was the TVB. And next thing you know, it's gone, and the government has asked RTHK to take over.
Yeah.
RTHK is like, huh?
Yeah, I like the reply from the staff.
It's basically,
they were
huh?
just shocked.
Yeah. What? Us? Why?
But they already have this free channel on TV now.
Well, on the digital spectrum.
Yeah.
Because about 480,000 homes still do not have any digital setup for the TV. They're still on analog. I mean, the government
I don't even get the analog.
Huh?
I don't even get the analog.
Yeah,
I'm living in an old building.
The government even extended the cutoff date for the analog spectrum because it's supposed to be cut off this year or next year?
Yeah, this year.
This year. They extended another 5 yees. I think they're hoping that majority of the people that have it, which are elderly, will die by then. It might just be like I don't know, maybe half or less by then. By then they should be having a digital box anyways, right? So RTHK is like, first of all, you've underfunded us since forever. We're terrible as it is because of our lack of funding, and it's a public broadcaster. You would think they have the best money since, the government's awash in it. But their programming suffers because they don't have the money. Many people have told us how poor the RTHK studios are because it's in a building that's been there since the 60s? And they haven't really updated half the equipment.
I think they were quite surprised how
our studio is. Yeah.
It's very advanced here and very nice here.
Wow, this is so much nicer than RTHK. And we're like, really? Well, because I've never been to the RTHK.
I've never been there too.
Yeah, so I'll just have to take their word for it. But RTHK is like, you can't just drop a bombshell on us, and we don't even have the capability to do it.
I think one of the funniest thing about the ATV stuff is that before the government announced that they will not renew their license, and then ATV really struggled, and they tried to making all these rumors before to delay the process.
The damn owner, majority owner of ATV, Wong Ching, was playing these games with the government and the communications authority with their because he knew the license was most likely going to be rejected.
Right.
He ordered pretty much his news staff to broadcast a sale of ATV to HKTV owner Ricky Wong.
When Ricky Wong was not in Hong Kong and he couldn't reply.
Because he replied 12, 14 hours later, like, no, that is not the case whatsoever.
Yeah.
I just came to talk with him, but nothing happened, right? Like days ago.
Yeah.
And it looks like that Wong Ching was trying to, I don't know what he was trying to do, to be honest. Either he was trying to make Siwa Leong have a heart attack, because we all know HKTV's rejection of their license was certainly not on the grounds of sound economic numbers. it was more. It had to do more with the political basis because they're the only the company that had programming ready to air day one.
Yeah, and it also showed that in ATV the news department not really independent because it showed that they were controlled by Wang Jing. In this case,
or you get fired. I mean, that's the choice I guess they have. Report this or you're fired.
Oh yeah, like last time when they reported the
Jiang
Jiman passed away.
Former.
That's quite funny. Now
He's
Jiang
dead.
Jiman is still alive and ATV will die very
Like
soon.
not even close. Like
Yeah.
he's not even on his deathbed. The guy's still out in public.
Yeah.
Okay, like how can you get it wrong? Again, since Wang Qing took over, that station's gotten worse.
And worse.
Then it was already. It was pretty bad at the time he took it, but it just got worse. Mostly due to nepotism, because of having family members in his. I mean, it was run like a playground for his family.
But I remember in early year 2000, they still have some very good TV shows. Like I mean, at least that they still produce something. And
In the last decade, it's just gotten really bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
like they're not producing anything except some very low budget talk show
Or reruns.
of the fireworks every year.
Oh yeah,
That's quite funny,
Yeah,
right?
we're running fireworks from previous years because they can't afford to put somebody out there to do it live.
Maybe one day they will replay these lottery results as well. The program.
You may have won. Disclaimer: this was a long time ago. I mean, so I feel really bad for the staff of ATV because they're about to
I
lose
don't.
their jobs. Why?
Because they knew it. The employer didn't pay them and they didn't sue them and they didn't leave. Now it's
Due to
actually
loyalty.
happened. How
They're
much
like,
is it?
oh,
Sorry.
No, I mean it's due to loyalty. Like we've been here for so long, we don't want to die. Someone's been there for like 20, 30 years. You know, it's hard to watch something that you've been a part of for so long just die. You're just like, no, I can't let it die.
I mean, when you are in this kind of company, it must be very. They don't produce anything. They don't do anything. I was told that like, in one show that they have 4 cameramen for one single talk show that you don't even have to move the camera. So basically,
Why do you need 4? See, that's
Exactly.
that's poor management on the part of the producers more than it has to do with the actual, you know.
I would say that the
on-air
staff, they are also quite comfortable with this kind of arrangement. They hope that they will continue, and they hope that they will still have the same job. They don't really have to do anything. I think they plain lazy. They should find another job.
Okay, first of all, Hong Kong's television landscape is quite limited. It's not like you can just jump into TVB or jump into iCable or Now TV and expect a job there. Not really. Nobody's really hiring.
Exactly. Oh, then that's the problem of the government too.
The government is really messed up in this situation. They talk about Hong Kong being free market, competition friendly, blah blah blah. But at the same time, they're doing everything but doing free market principles when it comes to the television market, where they're trying to control, regulate it. Selena Chow was on a talk show on TVB. She used to run ATV, and she was talking about the government has to regulate it. Government has to do a better job. No, it doesn't. This is the pro-business Liberal Party saying that the government has to get involved. The government has to butt out. All they need to do is give as many licenses as they want. Let these stations just beat the tar out of each other, and the best ones will survive.
I agree. I actually agree.
That's how you do it.
But if you only let the market to control it, then probably the English media will die because not.
Well, the regulations there that they must have the channel there.
Yeah,
so.
I think there's some kind of regulation that you must have to
Why
maintain
doesn't
Hong Kong
TVB's English channels suck? Why does it
because
have
they
ratings?
don't have any competition now.
Well, when they even did, when they had intense competition, there were some amazing shows on TVB and ATV. Some locally produced, but mostly were quality imported programming.
Right.
Right? We can do that here. We can have quality English local programming if they would just try.
Yeah, I still remember in the 80s then the TVB English program or ATV TV program was quite good.
They used to
I love
produce
Power Rangers.
sitcoms. They used to produce sitcoms locally in English. here.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one?
Late 70s. It didn't run for very long. Because the point is, you cannot sometimes just look at BBC. They don't just make their shows for BBC UK. I mean, it's worldwide. United States, same thing. It's not just, and the US market is massive, 330 odd million people, but still look how much of their program is exported. Japan, Korea, South Korea, all these, Thailand now, I mean, Taiwan, I mean, they are all, the goal is to produce it for your local market and then export. Hong Kong seems to be living in a bubble, other than TVB, which actually does export its Cantonese programming.
Yeah.
So it's their own fault for not doing it. Now, the thing is, some are saying that ATV is not exactly dead because that private equity firm AID Partners Capital was the white knight that signed the deal a few hours before the rejection of the license, saying we'll take the majority stake from Wong Ching and another investor.
So they actually signed the deal.
They signed the deal, but and apparently they submitted this 70-page proposal days before, but Wong Ching just sat on it. So had they signed it quickly, days before the license renewal meeting with the executive council, maybe they could have cut the license. But then Wong Ching plays the Ricky Wong card. Huh?
But it's quite funny, because now that they don't get a renewal of the license, so the deal is off.
But they're saying now that they still want to buy it. AID, how funny it's called aid, because that's exactly what ATV needs is aid. And they're saying we still want it, pending that they might turn it into a production house where they produce programming and sell it to the local stations. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But the news department will die because you can't really, unless it's documentaries. You know.
But what about now? Now ATV, they know that, they don't get the license. What can they do? Would they have more new programs?
Well, Ipka Po, the executive director of ATV, says we can't run for another 4 months without more capital injections.
Exactly. Then.
So if it gets sold to AID now, AID's track record is quite good because they bought Golden Harvest, the film studio, and they rescued HMV Asia.
Yeah.
And both are now profitable, quite profitable. HMV is dead around the world except in Asia, right? And so they have a track record of resuscitating dying brands. So they might be able to do it with ATV, but they don't have a license.
Well, but as you said that they can still produce some programs and sell it, then it doesn't really require a license in this case.
True.
Or I would suggest that they buy some TV programs from Hong Kong TV to broadcast. Then
Who, RTHK?
No, ATV.
ATV for the last couple of months? But where are they going to get the money to pay for it?
That's so true too.
Right?
But at least if they get at least get a deal with Vicky Wong, and then they can have some good quality programs.
And advertising money.
Exactly.
Because their advertising money actually increased this year. Because they kind of lowered their prices. Right? But at least they got some money. I think it doubled almost. Now, unfortunately, my internet's a little slow in here, but I was reading in the Post this morning that the analog spectrum has been taken away, their license. But there's still another spectrum that they have until 2018, right? If I can bring it up, I'll tell you. But that's interesting that they said.
What spectrum is it?
I don't know if it's just the digital one that they're on with the set-top boxes. Like RTHK right now is not on analog and only on the digital spectrum.
Right.
Right. So is half of TVB's channels. Right. So, yeah, here we go. Keep its spectrum. I'll get to it, but that's another way they may stay afloat. Is that here we go. Quote, although ATV would lose its free TV license next year, the station might still live if its fixed carrier's license
Oh, okay.
could continue until November 2018 as originally stated. What is that?
It's a. Um, it's more technical stuff, though.
Uh-huh.
It's you have to have both license to run the fixed carrier. Is how do you say it? I think I will come back to you when I will next
When you
time.
worked it on in your mind, okay, because that's what they. Because look at this, Calvin Wu, the principal partner of AID Capital Partners Capital, he said that he wants to start working on programming right now, including investing in a Chinese remake of American teen hit drama Gossip Girl. He even wants to already take licensed programming and then make their own version here. Many studios do that around the world. They take American or British concept or another country and then make it their own, which is great. It's a start, but they're saying that's if their fixed carrier license stays, they can somehow stay. Is that fixed locations?
It's a transmission that in a fixed location to another point.
Not generally
so it's
broadcasting.
Not the over the air. Yeah.
So how would that work? You would need a transmitter in certain areas specifically?
Just like you can say that. It's just like a broadband case. Then they have to have a fixed one on like in the office. Then they will have the terminal server, everything there, and then to another point that is also fixed in.
But isn't that more expensive?
You have to build all the cable.
Yeah. But if they're already on the digital spectrum, does that count as fixed carrier? If they just stick to the digital spectrum like RTHK does right now?
There's different license, I suppose.
Is it?
You
Okay.
have to really work out on that. I'm not quite sure.
Okay. So that's another way if they can't get their license. Another thing is maybe a judicial review, because a license has never been denied
Right.
before. So it's unprecedented, whole new waters that they're treading, and they may go to court and say,
But I think it's quite difficult for judicial review because you have to show some unfairness on the.
HKTV has more of an unfairness case than ATV does.
Exactly. You have to show that the broadcasting authority has did something wrong procedurally or very unfair in the way that when they reach this decision. I doubt, because I do think that they do follow the procedures. How they can get rid of, or how could they get back the license? They must have done something properly to do so. I don't really think that is an easy way to do it.
If anything, the Executive Council gave them plenty of chances to get their act together.
Right.
Even extending their license for another 5 months, because their license, by law they're supposed to be given 1 year's notice before the end of their license, before the expiration of the license. And that was to be November, because their license technically ends November 2015.
Right.
But it looks like they give them like an extension, because they kept saying, no, give us time. We have a white knight. We have somebody coming in. We have investors lined up. Executive Council's like, okay, we'll try. But then eventually, Executive Council's like, you've had enough chance. And this is probably the only time that C.Y. Leung is actually getting praised.
Oh, that's so true. He did something good.
Yeah. Based on economics alone, this was the right move. But if AID is really serious about taking it over, let this deal come through first. I think AID should buy it now even cheaper, now that there's no license.
Right.
I think they can ask for a bargain, and Wang Qing either is going to get nothing or get something.
Right.
And eventually maybe try to apply for another license again?
Maybe. Well,
Can they? I think they can.
I mean, they have no limitation for the numbers of
Right.
licenses, though.
So apply again.
Yeah, but of course they have to consider because of the over-the-air spectrum of things, and that's why we only had 2, and there were no new applicant for the new license. And now they have, they expected the time when they said that they will have more TV license because they expected the terrestrial spectrum will end in year 2015, and they will have to move on to digital. That's why they're more willing to give more license at that time.
Oh.
And now, because of the digital, then they also have some limitation to the digital spectrum as well. So, but I will allow them to have more channels. So in this case, probably easier for ATV if they can really show that they are ambitious in pursuing the business.
ATV can probably forget the analog license.
Just go digital.
Just go straight digital. I think it'd be easier to get that license, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't know because.
Well, Ricky Wong didn't get it.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
he wanted the analog.
True. The analog is very limited as well, and at the same time, because of the analog cover everywhere.
Yeah, but what, 480,000 for a dying technology? Is that really worth it? Most people who are sticking to analog are, well, yes, there's very low-income families that can afford a digital TV box and everything. But it's mostly the elderly who can't really deal with it.
But when you're looking at the proposal of cable TV and the PCCW, they don't really get any spectrum. So even now they said that PCCW, the broadcasting authorities are urging PCCW to move on, and they already gave the license to PCCW. What PCCW is doing is that they're still using the set-top box of the internet to broadcast it, but not really using any digital.
Yeah, they have free to air, but not really.
No, not really.
You know, it's more like this fixed spectrum, point to point.
Yeah.
You know, if you got their Now TV box, you can get their free. But I'm getting Now TV already.
Yeah, but you don't have to pay for that.
No, but it makes no sense. Why aren't they going to go on the digital spectrum instead?
I think they don't get it. They don't really get the digital spectrum in this case. That's why under their proposal, they're still using the set-top box to transmit.
Are they going to give those away to get people to get on, or are they going to create an app?
I'm not quite sure. Because
they have a Now TV app now.
Yeah, they do.
That you can watch some of their programming.
Yeah.
So I guess they'll do the same thing again.
Just like Hong Kong TV.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
But Hong Kong TV lost money.
But Hong Kong TV can do so. Then why do we bother to get a free TV license?
Exactly. Wouldn't it be better if Hong Kong TV just like gave out these cheap Android boxes for like the $50 ones? Like, hey, watch HKTV. Here's a box. Do as a like a promotion. Do it like, hey, if you wanna, even those little Chromecast deals from Google. They cost like nothing.
But actually, you don't really have to use these set-top box for Hong Kong TV, because most of these smart TV
AirPlay it or go straight to your smart. But what about, like I said, the elderly who don't have a set-top box or can't afford it? I think Ricky Wong should have spent like $100 million and just say, here's a free set-top box. First of all, it wouldn't even cost $100 million. It would probably just cost him like $2. To buy these little cheap Android boxes. And preload it with HKTV. Like, make it as easy as possible. Here, click 1, HKTV's on.
That's a way. I'm not sure.
But then they need the internet.
Exactly.
And a lot of the elderly do not have the internet.
But Hong Kong TV, formerly they were the Hong Kong broadband. So probably they have this good service too. If you go to the Hong Kong TV and website, they have actually promotion of their Hong Kong broadband service as well.
Okay, well, there's that idea. So HKTVE, that's the PCCW brand.
Yes.
Talk about indistinguishable between HKTV and HKTVE. They'll start in 2016 with their Cantonese channel first.
Right.
And 2017, by law, they will start their English channel, which will probably be just reruns of something. But they do have to produce 2 15-minute English news programs homegrown and 2 current affair programs.
Right.
So there'll be some programming there.
But PCCW, they do produce programs on their pay TVs, so I think it's no problem for them. And the quality quite good too.
Yeah.
They have travelogue. They have.
Again, no subtitles for English, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, that's so true too. Even in Hong Kong TV, they don't have English
subtitles. I mean, they're cutting off 500,000 native English speakers right away. That's number one. Number two, they're cutting off 30% of the population that may want to improve their English by reading the subtitles.
Yeah, I think so too. The program's very good, I have to say. Like the first one, the election is not like the local Hong Kong TV. It's more like
House of Cards quality.
Yeah, I think so too. Like the recent one that called The Manual is about the reporters and a news agency. It's also very good too. It's not really copying everything from this U.S. drama. But
no, I mean stylistically.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. And they also have a lot of local elements in it. Like The Manual, they recently have this... I just watched one episode about the ICAC rated the news agency. That also actually happened in Hong Kong in year 2004. That the ICAC rated the 7 newspaper agency in Hong Kong, and they adapted that part to their program. Is quite good. It's also reflect some reality in Hong Kong as well.
TVB did the same thing recently with a show that I really enjoyed.
Which one?
In English, it was called Brothers Keeper, but I don't know the Cantonese name. And they used all historical elements, including when the cops raided the ICAC offices back in the 70s when they just started because they were being convicted and stuff like that. So it's really good to watch nostalgic stuff like that or incorporate real things.
But in TVB, they do provide English subtitles, right?
Yes. Because their stuff is exported a lot.
Oh, I see.
To a lot of countries, so they just do it at home, in-house right away.
Oh, I see.
And that's what I don't understand. Ricky Wong said he's got a deal to sell to Malaysia or whatever. Malaysia's first language is not Cantonese.
But they do speak Cantonese.
They do, but there's a massive English-speaking population there because it's not all Chinese. It's actually a lot of Indians as well. If you want to go to Singapore, same thing. A lot of well, English is the #1 language. Then it's like, is it Cantonese? No, it's Chinese, isn't it? In Singapore.
Singapore, they speak Hokkien.
What you just said. Yeah. So that's my beef with Ricky Wong. All you need is like 1 or 2 people to sit there and just do the interpretation, and it opens up a whole new audience.
It seems that we talked so much about TV. We apparently love TV so much.
Well, it's okay. Just to say this, ATV has been part of my childhood, and it's just so sad to see it die. I've been on ATV itself many times when I was a kid.
I'm not sad at all.
But when their offices were still in Broadcast Drive in Kowloon Tong, not in Tai Po where it is now. Right? And it's just so sad to see something like that go. And I highly respect their English news department. I've said that many times. Because their reporting is way better than TVB's in my opinion. Because I find TVB is so one-tracked on certain things. ATV does more of a da-da-da-da-da, but here's the other side of it as well.
I see.
TVB is like, oh, this happened. Why? Because that's what we were told to say.
But I feel like TVB News they were under attack, especially during the umbrella movement, and because they tried to cut out all these pro-democracy part, and that's why people keep criticizing that TVB News is not impartial.
Did they change the voiceover when Ken Jeong was getting beaten by those cops? Like they wanted to rerun it, but they're like, don't run the audio or something like that, or...
I think, I don't remember that happened.
It was something like that, and the reporters were protesting against that. ATV had none of that, though.
They did change the description.
Something like that.
Yeah.
ATV did not have that issue.
Really?
No,
Interesting.
especially in the English side.
Because the owner wouldn't care about the English news.
But the Chinese news, nobody complained during the Occupy movement either. Nobody complained about the ATV side or iCable or Now. It was always TVB
Now
this, TVB that.
The blue ribbon would complain about iCable and
Oh yeah, except for
news.
them. And now I will recap in English. That's what I remember from the Occupy movement. Watching
at 4 p.m.
at 4 p.m. every day, because there's a mall near my work, and there's a big screen running the 24-hour channel of the
Right.
TVB, and he'd be on there. And one day I was just walking by, and I just hear, and now I will recap in English.
That's cool.
Right? And now that's been like a meme on the internet. So bottom line, ATV looks like it's dead, but at the same time, it's on life support still. I mean, it died, and then this investor came in and gave it a jolt.
I think it's exciting in the coming year about the media.
Yeah. All right. Well, we were going to have a guest on to talk more ATV, but unfortunately, due to contractual obligations with his work, he could not come in. So you have us to deal with again in the second half. So we'll be back right after this.